Hello, universe! I am Rexi, your reliable dinosaur for all things science. On today's episode of Logic with Rexi, we will be exploring the basic functions of the human digestive system. Let's get ready to learn! Logic with Rexi. What a wonderful show! Let's get ready to learn with Rexi. Yeah. The digestive system is very important to human function. It allows all the other systems to obtain nutrients they need to support life, and works with many of the other human systems to do this. For example, the circulatory system transports the extracted nutrients to where they are needed in the body, and the musculoskeletal system allows for the initial breakdown of food so it can be ingested. This book has an interesting diagram of the various systems in the human body. Here, the liver, stomach, large and small intestines are shown, along with many other systems behind. For humans, digestion starts in the mouth. Both mechanical and chemical digestion methods are used in this area. Salivary glands produce saliva containing amylase enzymes. This enzyme chemically breaks down complex carbohydrates and works best at a neutral pH. Other parts of the mouth, such as the teeth and tongue, use mechanical digestion to allow the other parts of the digestive system to chemically break down the components later. Like this.
The time has come for this cookie. Nom, 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 oh, nom, 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 nom. Bye-bye.
Do not try this at home, kids. Your parents will not like the mess. Not that I'm talking from experience or anything. Once your food is appropriately mashed and mixed with saliva, it is no longer referred to as food. The mass is now called a bolus. The tongue will position the bolus, and with help from the soft palate will push it back past the pharynx and into the esophagus, while the epiglottis prevents entry to the trachea. The esophagus is a long, smooth muscle that runs from the pharynx to the top of the stomach. Using wave-like contractions called peristalsis, the esophagus pushes the bolus down to the stomach. This is the beginning of involuntary movements in the digestive system. No conscious control of the process is used from this point until digestion. Here is a demonstration of peristalsis. On either end of the stomach, there is a sphincter muscle, similar to the mechanism on this bag. The top one, called the cardiac sphincter, prevents materials in the stomach from rising back into the esophagus, which would cause heartburn. The lower one, called the pyloric sphincter, prevents materials from leaving early. At this point in digestion, the food is no longer called a bolus. It is called chyme. Please, let me out. Ugh. You can come out when you learn to control your bodily functions. I love sphincter muscles. The stomach is a J-shaped pouch located just below the lungs and diaphragm. It stores food and initializes the chemical breakdown of protein using the enzyme pepsin, which starts out as pepsinogen and is converted to its active form while in the stomach. The stomach can also break down the chyme mechanically by continually churning and having the materials rub against its rigid sides, called rugae. Since the stomach also contains hydrochloric acid, It has a very low pH, usually ranging between 2.0 and 3.0. It has mucus lining that protects its interior walls and allows it to use levels of acidity that are effective for breaking down proteins and killing pathogens. I've always imagined it working like this. We have now reached the small intestine. This is where the majority of human digestion takes place. The small intestine is about 2.5 centimeters in diameter and contains villi throughout its entire length of about 7 meters. The villi are small projections that maximize the surface area, allowing the small intestine to absorb as much as possible from the chyme as it passes through. The small intestine contains 3 sections: the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. The sections are divided by cell shape, and the majority of digestion occurs in the first section, the duodenum, which measures about 30 centimeters. The small intestine contains bicarbonate, which neutralizes the hydrochloric acid from the stomach, leaving the pH at about 9.0. It also has many enzymes. The main enzymes used in the small intestine are trypsin, lipase, pancreatic amylase, and erepsin. Trypsin is changed from trypsinogen by enterokinase and continues the breakdown of proteins from long-chain to short-chain peptides. Erepsin is released from the pancreas and small intestine and completes the breakdown of proteins. Lipase changes fats to glycerol and fatty acids, working as a catalyst. Pancreatic amylase finishes the digestion of carbohydrates, the body's main energy source. By compacting itself into a small area, such as this string, the small intestine, though long in length, is able to fit into a relatively small portion of the human's body. Once the chyme reaches the large intestine, chemical digestion is complete, and enough nutrients have been removed that it is considered waste. The main purpose of the large intestine is to absorb water and a few other components from the waste. It also stores the waste until it can be removed from the body. The large intestine has several parts, including the cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and rectum, which leads to the anus and is separated from it by 2 sphincter muscles, one controlled consciously and one unconsciously. Although the large intestine is shorter than the small intestine, it has a much larger diameter, measuring at about 7.6 centimeters in diameter and 1.5 meters in length. The human digestive system also contains several accessory organs which produce and store enzymes. The liver, gallbladder, and pancreas are the main ones. The liver produces bile, which is used in the stomach and small intestine to emulsify fat. Bile is stored in the gallbladder so that large amounts can be used when needed. The pancreas creates several enzymes, which it can release into the stomach or small intestine. Some of the main enzymes it creates are pancreatic amylase, lipase, and trypsinogen. The last part of digestion is the removal of waste products from the system. Everything that was not used during the digestive process is removed from the body through the anus as waste, typically 24 to 48 hours after ingestion. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Logic with Rexi. Some of you may have noticed that almost every scene after the theme song contains a hidden chicken thing. You can go back and find them all if you want.